See? I can't get the ice out. I just can't get the ice out.
Donna Douglas played a popular TV character. When her show, The Beverly Hillbillies, was canceled.
Questions I'm asked the most if I really like animals, or if I really like critters. And I think they're like kids.
Donna Douglas passed away this morning at her home in Louisiana. She beat out 500 other actresses to play the part of Ellie May.
She was the barefoot tomboy who made America fall in love. Ellie May Clampett, the pigtailed darling of the Beverly Hillbillies. To fans, Donna Douglas was all sunshine and innocence, the girl who could wrestle a raccoon and still flash a movie star smile. But behind that grin was a woman fighting a battle the world never saw. Hollywood crowned her its favorite country angel, then quietly shut every other door in her face. While cameras captured her laughter, they never showed the loneliness that followed when the lights went out. Few knew about the contracts she lost, the scripts she was never even allowed to read, or the lawsuit that would pit her against one of the biggest studios on earth. And almost no one knew the private pain she carried near the end, when illness threatened to silence her for good. Donna's story isn't just another tale of fame and fade. It's about how a woman raised on dirt roads and gospel hymns stood toe-to-toe with an industry that wanted to own her image forever. She was called naive, stubborn, even foolish for turning down roles that didn't fit her values. But the truth, Donna Douglas wasn't playing innocent. She was protecting the only thing she ever truly believed in, herself. Long before social media taught the world to love authenticity, she lived it. What happened when America's favorite tomboy walked away from Hollywood's golden promises? Why did she risk everything to fight Disney in court? And how did faith carry her through the illness that would end her life but never her legacy? This is the untold story of Donna Douglas, the woman behind Ellie May Clampett, the beauty queen who refused to break, and the star who proved that even in a world built on make-believe, grace and grit can still outshine fame. Before the magazine covers and television lights, Donna Douglas was simply Doris Fino Smith, a barefoot girl from Pride, Louisiana. A place so small it barely showed up on the map. Her childhood was filled with muddy creeks, church picnics, and the scent of pine drifting through open windows. She was supposed to be the kind of girl who stayed home, married young, and built a quiet life. But even as a child, Donna wasn't wired for ordinary. She climbed trees higher than the boys, chased stray animals, and came home with grass stains on her Sunday dress. Neighbors laughed and called her a tomboy, but there was something magnetic about her even then. An energy that made people stop and look twice. When she turned 17, that spark turned into something bigger. With nothing but charm and a borrowed gown, Donna entered the Miss Baton Rouge pageant and won. The victory stunned her hometown and caught the eye of bigger stages. Soon she was crowned Miss New Orleans, her smile lighting up local billboards and newspaper ads. Each win pulled her a little further from the dirt roads she'd grown up on and a little closer to a dream she could barely name. Modeling brought attention, but standing still in front of a camera wasn't enough. Donna wanted to move, to speak, to perform. She wasn't chasing glamour, she was chasing purpose. In the conservative South of the early 1950s, ambition like that wasn't always applauded. People whispered that she should settle down, that Hollywood was no place for a good Christian girl. But Donna had already made up her mind. With a suitcase, a train ticket, and the kind of courage that comes only from youth and faith, she said goodbye to pride and boarded a train for California. No acting classes, no connections, just conviction. The journey from the bayous to Beverly Hills would test every ounce of that determination. Because while small-town faith had carried her this far, she was about to discover that Hollywood didn't believe in second chances or small-town girls who didn't play by its rules. When Donna Douglas stepped off that train in California, she was surrounded by a city that glittered like a promise, but bit like a snake. The Hollywood she'd dreamed of was not a land of opportunity. It was a machine built to chew up hopefuls and spit them out forgotten. Casting offices overflowed with girls just like her, young, beautiful, hungry for a chance. Every week, hundreds lined up outside studio gates clutching black and white headshots, praying a producer might glance their way. Donna had no connections, no formal training, no big city polish. What she did have was something Hollywood rarely understood: authenticity. While others faked sophistication, she stayed unapologetically Southern, with that lilting drawl and bright smile that felt like home to anyone who met her. Her first jobs weren't glamorous. Commercials for toothpaste, laundry detergent, and kitchen soap paid the rent while she learned what it meant to perform in front of a camera. She became known as the girl next door face every advertiser wanted. Someone wholesome, trustworthy, and warm. Each short gig taught her something new: how to find the light, how to hold a look, how to stay professional even when nobody remembered her name. It wasn't fame, but it was foundation. And slowly, that foundation started to grow. Small television parts came next. Donna popped up on The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet, then on other household favorites, her easy charm standing out even in brief appearances. Her breakthrough, though still minor, came when she appeared in The Twilight Zone's haunting episode, Eye of the Beholder. The episode's eerie message about beauty and identity struck a chord and ironically mirrored the very world Donna was fighting to survive in. Hollywood loved beauty, but it also punished women for it. By 1959, she'd made her way into films, appearing in Career with Dean Martin and Shirley MacLaine, and later in Lover Come Back alongside Doris Day and Rock Hudson. Each role, no matter how small, felt like another door opening. And then in 1966, she got a dream most young actresses would never forget: a role opposite Elvis Presley in Frankie and Johnny. For Donna, who'd grown up watching Elvis take over the world, it was surreal. Their chemistry on screen was natural, playful, and infectious. She wasn't intimidated by him. She was comfortable. That charm made her memorable and gave her a rare glimpse of what real stardom might feel like. But even as her career started to gather momentum, Hollywood remained unforgiving. For every smile on set, there were a dozen closed doors behind it. Donna's Southern accent and wholesome persona made her stand out, but not always in the way she wanted. Studio executives often saw her as too simple, too soft-spoken, too country. She wasn't the kind of woman they imagined as a glamorous leading lady. And yet, that very quality, her genuineness, would soon become her greatest weapon. Because one strange audition involving a camera and a cow was about to change her life forever. By 1962, Donna Douglas had spent years in Hollywood grinding through casting calls and commercials, hoping for that one big break. Then came a new sitcom idea that sounded too strange to succeed. A poor backwoods family strikes oil and moves to Beverly Hills. It was called the Beverly Hillbillies. Producers needed someone to play Ellie May Clampett, the charming, animal-loving daughter whose heart was as wild as her curls. They'd seen dozens of actresses, but none of them felt real. Then Donna walked in, pure Louisiana through and through, smiling like she'd never heard the word pretend. But there was a twist. Every woman who auditioned had to prove she could milk a cow, live, on camera. For most Hollywood hopefuls, that was a nightmare. Manicures meant mud. But Donna, she grew up doing that before breakfast. Without hesitation, she knelt down, got to work, and the casting room robust in laughter. When she finished, she delivered her lines with that signature Southern sparkle, and the producers didn't need another test. In that moment, Donna Douglas became Ellie May Clampett. When the Beverly Hillbillies premiered that fall, it exploded. Overnight, it became one of the highest-rated shows in television history, pulling in over 50 million viewers a week. Families gathered around black and white screens to watch the Clampetts stumble through Beverly Hills luxury with country innocence. And right in the center of it was Donna, wrestling critters, climbing fences, and flashing that mischievous grin that made America adore her. She wasn't just acting, she was Ellie May. Her fame hit at lightning speed. Magazine covers, interviews, photo shoots. Donna was everywhere. Kids imitated her accent. Women copied her hairstyles. Hollywood had found its newest sweetheart, yet behind the glitz, the sudden attention was dizzying. She'd gone from an anonymous actress struggling to pay rent to a national treasure almost overnight. Producers praised her professionalism, co-stars loved her warmth, and fans saw in her a piece of innocence they could trust. But even as she smiled through the fame, a quiet storm was building. Every time she stepped on set, she gave her best. But the more successful the Beverly Hillbillies became, the harder it would be for Hollywood to see her as anything else. Fame had given her everything she thought she wanted, yet it was about to take something she could never get back, her freedom to grow beyond Ellie May Clampett. For all the laughter and love, the Beverly Hillbillies brought Donna Douglas. It came with a shadow she could never escape. America didn't just adore Ellie May. They believed she was Ellie May. The sweet, barefoot country girl with her animals and innocent smile became so iconic that the line between the character and the woman blurred completely. And while that image made her famous, it also built a cage around her. Hollywood executives, casting directors, even agents began to see Donna through only one lens. They didn't see an actress. They saw a type, and that type, they decided, couldn't lead a drama, couldn't play serious, couldn't be anything but the Clampett daughter who loved critters. At first, Donna tried to ignore it. She was grateful for the success, grateful for the fans who wrote her letters by the thousands. But as the show went on, she began to feel trapped in a loop she couldn't break. Scripts that landed on her desk were always the same. Pretty country girl, naive farm beauty, sweet but simple. She wanted to act, to stretch, to show depth and range, but the industry had already decided who she was. In private, she confided that she felt invisible, seen by everyone, but not truly known. The pressure mounted after the Beverly Hillbillies ended in 1971. Donna expected that 9 seasons of fame would open new doors. Instead, they slammed shut. Casting directors loved her but didn't know what to do with her. Some politely told her she was too recognizable. Others simply stopped calling. For an actress who had once been on the biggest show in America, the silence was deafening. But Donna wasn't one to wallow in self-pity. She kept working, taking guest roles on shows like Love, American Style, and Night Gallery, hoping to chip away at the Ellie May label. And though she poured her heart into every performance, the public only wanted one thing: the sweet country girl with the braids and accent. It was a painful truth. Hollywood adored innocence but didn't know how to honor it once it grew up. By the mid-1970s, Donna could see the writing on the wall. Her career as a leading lady was over. Not because she lacked talent, but because she had played her most famous role too well. For some, that would have meant fading into nostalgia and regret. But for Donna, it became the moment that changed everything. Instead of chasing a dream that no longer existed, she decided to rewrite her story completely. She would leave behind the lights, the scripts, and the endless auditions, and find meaning somewhere Hollywood could never take it away, in her faith, her music, and her own voice. When Donna Douglas walked away from Hollywood, she wasn't running from failure. She was walking toward freedom. The industry had given her fame, but faith gave her peace. During the late 1970s, as many of her peers clung desperately to the spotlight, Donna quietly rebuilt her life around something far more enduring. She became a born-again Christian, a transformation that reshaped everything she stood for. The same woman who once wrestled raccoons on national television now stood before church audiences, speaking about perseverance, humility, and gratitude. Fans who came expecting a celebrity meet and greet instead found a woman who spoke with raw honesty about rejection, disappointment, and the grace that pulled her through it all. Her faith didn't just heal her, it gave her a new mission. Donna turned her attention to gospel music, recording several albums filled with songs that reflected her spirit. They weren't chart toppers, but they touched people's hearts. She performed at revivals, charity events, and small-town festivals, using her voice to spread hope instead of chasing fame. On stage, she was radiant, not as Ellie May, not as a Hollywood starlet, but as Donna, the woman who had rediscovered her purpose. Audiences said she carried the same warmth she'd once brought to television screens, but now it felt even more personal. She wasn't entertaining anymore. She was connecting. Her creativity didn't stop there. Donna began writing children's books that combined her love of animals with the Christian values that guided her life. Donna's Critters and Kids children's stories with a Bible touch became her best-known work, blending simple life lessons with humor and heart. She wanted to teach children kindness, compassion, and respect for all living things, the very values that had shaped her childhood in Louisiana. It was storytelling with meaning, and it allowed her to give something lasting back to the world that had once watched her grow up on screen. In a move that surprised everyone, Donna also ventured into real estate. She became a licensed agent, trading camera lights for open houses and contracts. Many assumed it was a hobby or a publicity stunt, but she proved them wrong. Her southern charm and sincerity made her a natural. She built a solid reputation for helping families find homes with honesty and care. People said she brought the same authenticity to real estate that she once brought to television. Through all these reinventions, Donna never lost sight of her roots. She spoke often about how faith, not fame, had given her true happiness. She wasn't bitter about Hollywood. She was grateful for the platform it gave her to reach others. "Everything I've been through," she once said, "God used to make me who I am." But just as life seemed to settle into a peaceful rhythm, Donna's name would return to headlines once again. This time, in a way no one saw coming. Because in the early 1990s, she decided to take on a battle that would test not only her resilience, but her courage to stand up to the most powerful company in entertainment. For years, Donna Douglas had built a new life defined by peace, not publicity. But in 1993, her quiet world collided once again with Hollywood headlines, and this time she was no smiling sitcom star. Donna filed a stunning $200 million lawsuit against Disney, Whoopi Goldberg, and several production companies, claiming that the blockbuster movie Sister Act had been stolen from a screenplay she co-wrote years earlier titled A Nun in the Closet. The lawsuit shocked her fans and the industry alike. Sweet, gentle Ellie May Clampett taking on the Disney empire? It sounded impossible, but Donna was dead serious. She believed her story. About a woman hiding in a convent to escape danger and rediscover herself through faith had been taken without credit or permission. For months, the case dominated entertainment news. Commentators called it David versus Goliath, and in many ways it was. Hollywood insiders dismissed her as naive, saying she didn't stand a chance against Disney's legal army. But Donna stood firm. To her, it wasn't about money. It was about principle. She wanted recognition for her creative work, the kind she'd struggled to get her entire career. She had spent decades proving she was more than a pretty face. Now she was fighting to show she was also a thinker, a writer, a creator. Her courage in standing up to such a massive company earned quiet respect, even from those who doubted she'd win. After a long, exhausting legal battle, the court ruled against her. The judge decided there wasn't enough evidence to prove Disney had copied her work. For many, that kind of public defeat would have been humiliating. But not for Donna. She didn't lash out or dwell on the loss. Instead, she handled it with the same quiet grace that had carried her through Hollywood's rejection years earlier. "You have to let go," she reportedly told friends. "If you let bitterness in, it owns you." And that was never who she wanted to be. Following the lawsuit, Donna retreated from the spotlight once more, this time for good. She devoted her final years to her family, her faith, and her community in Louisiana. Those who knew her said she never changed, still the same warm, humble woman who would stop to talk with fans or share stories about the old days on the Beverly Hillbillies. She remained close to her son, Danny, and doted on her grandchildren, often saying they were her proudest achievement. While the world remembered her for Ellie Mae's laughter, her family remembered her for her kindness. But behind the laughter and hugs, Donna was fighting a private battle. In her later years, she was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, a cruel and relentless illness. Yet, even in pain, she never let despair win. Friends said she stayed positive, smiling through her treatments, always reminding those around her that faith was stronger than fear. She refused to let the disease define her, spending her final months surrounded by love, prayer, and family. On New Year's Day, January 1st, 2015, Donna Douglas passed away peacefully in her home in Zachary, Louisiana, at the age of 82. News of her death spread quickly, and tributes poured in from across the country. Fans who had grown up watching her felt like they'd lost a piece of their childhood. Co-stars called her the heart of the show, a woman whose warmth never faded even when the cameras did. And in that moment, people finally saw her not as Ellie May Clampett, but as Donna, a woman who had fought, endured, and lived with extraordinary grace. When news broke that Donna Douglas had passed away, tributes flooded in from across the country. Fans remembered her laugh, her warmth, and that unmistakable spark that made Ellie May Clampett a national treasure. But for those who truly knew her story, her legacy went far beyond the girl in braids. Donna's life wasn't defined by fame. It was defined by resilience. She had walked away from an industry that often valued youth over integrity, choosing instead to build a life centered on faith, family, and meaning. In an era when so many stars fell victim to the pressures of Hollywood, she stood apart as someone who never lost herself to it. Today, when people think of the Beverly Hillbillies, they smile, not just because the show was funny, but because Donna made it feel real. She embodied innocence without naivety, beauty without vanity, and humor without cruelty. Her presence reminded audiences that kindness could still shine through a television screen. That's why, even decades after the show ended, reruns continue to draw viewers because Ellie May, and by extension Donna herself, represented a purity that modern entertainment rarely captures anymore. But beyond the nostalgia, Donna's legacy carries a deeper message. She showed that a career can fade, but character endures. That you can be typecast, underestimated, and even forgotten by the industry, and still find joy, purpose, and dignity in living by your values. Her transformation from Hollywood actress to gospel singer, author, and motivational speaker reflected a woman who never stopped evolving. Every chapter of her life, from beauty pageants to lawsuits, from laughter to illness, told the same truth. Donna Douglas never stopped believing in grace. Even now, fans who meet her family or reread her books speak of how genuine she was, how she treated everyone with the same warmth she showed on screen. To the world, she'll always be Ellie May, the cheerful tomboy with her critters and big heart. But behind that character was a woman whose courage and faith made her story far more powerful than any script she ever read. In the end, Donna Douglas didn't just entertain a generation, she inspired them. She proved that no matter how loud the world becomes, you can still choose kindness. And that sometimes, the truest kind of success isn't found under bright lights. It's found in quiet strength, humble faith, and the ability to keep smiling even when no one's watching. So when we see Ellie May Clampett on that old TV screen laughing in her braids, maybe we're not just seeing a character at all. Maybe we're seeing Donna, the real woman who showed America that grace, goodness, and grit never go out of style. If you found Donna Douglas's journey as inspiring as we did, make sure to like this video, leave a comment with your favorite memory of the Beverly Hillbillies, and subscribe so you never miss another story from Hollywood's golden era. Turn on that notification bell and join us next time as we uncover the untold truth behind another television legend who faced fame, scandal, and redemption in ways the public never knew. You won't want to miss what really happened behind the scenes.